Welcome to another episode of Innova Tech One. Before we get started, I want to let you know a little bit of what we do and who we are. So, Innova Tech One, you can find us at innovatech1.com. This is a business that started by myself, which is an HVAC technician, and it's designed to provide information for customers and also to provide training for heating and cooling technicians. A lot of times, HVAC technicians don't get the proper training and you just get thrown in the field and they let you discover what you can in the field. So my job is to hopefully help customers and technicians understand how things work and make those two worlds function properly. So let's get started with our topic. Today we're going to talk about relative humidity and the indoor air quality on your home. So right now in Texas it's raining and it's also the beginning of our cooling season. One of the things that I often would face in this time of the year from customers is I would get calls where the customer would call and say, "Hey, my system is cooling, but it doesn't feel like it's cooling like it used to. It doesn't feel like it's cooling like the previous cooling season. I'm having to lower the temperature a little bit more." And normally, the average technician would show up at this type of calls, and he would just check the refrigerant levels, the temperature of the air that's coming out of the system, and the filter. If those three were good, he would just say the system's working perfectly. And it was kind of like it is what it is type of situation. In reality, there's more to that. There's a lot of things that happen with your air conditioning system. So let's start by relative humidity. Relative humidity is the percentage of moisture in vapor state that's in the air. So in this case, we're talking about the air in your home. If you don't have a smart thermostat that displays relative humidity, I recommend that you get one. A lot of new homes come with smart thermostats that display this reading. So recently, I had a friend that she bought a new home, and she called me and asked me, "Hey, what's the a good relative humidity percentage that I should have in my house?" I said, "Well, it would be ideal if you shoot between 50 and 55%. That's very comfortable in the house." She said, "Well, mine is reading around 62, 64% on average." And then when it started raining outside, she called me and she said, and it got up to 72. So I told her that was not normal and she should have that conditioning system checked because it was still under warranty. So she called the company that installed this system and they told her that's perfectly normal. It's raining outside, so it's normal for humidity to go higher inside of your house. Well, she called me back and told me this. I said, "No, there's no way that's normal. There's something going on with your system." And especially in a brand new house, you don't have that many air leaks. So a lot of the houses have infiltration, which is outside air coming into your house. Just think of when was the last time that you replaced the door seals on your front door and your back door? When was the last time that you actually check your windows for leaks? A lot of the times customers live in houses that are 10, 15, 20 years old and they don't worry about those areas. And that's where a lot of the times this humid air comes into your house affecting how it performs. So if you haven't done that, I highly recommend that you check your doors. One of the things that you can do is just turn your air conditioning system on and then just feel around the edges of the doors and windows, and you'll notice air coming through. Often they also sell on Amazon, for example, a puffer, which is a white powder that it makes it look like kind of like smoke. It floats in the air for a long time, and it helps you identify leaks that are in your door seals and window seals. Also on the vents. A lot of times, if you notice that your vent is accumulating dust on the edges against the sheetrock, that's a sign that that vent is bringing hot air from the attic. So you need to get that sealed as well. So we're going to go back to this in a little bit. First, I want to show you this chart. So when my friend called me and she asked me, what's the average percentage or what percentage of relative humidity should I have in my house? If you look at this chart at the bottom part, It shows you the relative humidity percentage from 0 to 100. On the left side, you can see how what type of things grow, and then on the top side, it shows you your three categories of too dry, healthy zone, and too moist. So the highlighted green area is your ideal. That's your healthy zone, which ranges from 30% to 60%. Like I mentioned before, usually between 50 and 55% humidity during the cooling season is ideal. So look at what grows on the left side. Bacteria, for example, if your air is too dry during the winter, and you don't have an idea of how dry your air is, so that's why I recommend that you get a smart thermostat that displays the humidity. Also, technicians that you have servicing your system should be able to read humidity in your house, and that's how you know if you have a good tech. If they actually do this, they check the humidity without you telling them. Because how often in the winter do you get shocked, for example? And I'm not going to deviate into the winter season, but just that's just to give you an example. A lot of times when you're getting your nose too dry or you get shocked by static electricity in your home during the winter, that's a sign that the humidity in your house is very low. Also, viruses, mites, asthma, and so on. You can see what grows as your humidity level goes up. So, my friend that had a relative humidity of 72, 74, she was having some issues in that house. One of the things that contributes to this is a device that is installed in new construction homes. A lot of times here in Texas, they install, or they're required to install actually, a fresh air control system. This is a device that brings hot or cold air, depending on the season, but it brings external air into your home to help with the air quality in your homes. Because a lot of the times, these new houses are so tight that you rarely open a window or a door to bring in fresh air. So the air inside of your home, if you don't open up windows and doors sometimes, the air inside of your home can be up to 5 times more polluted than the air outside without you even knowing. So by code, they require new construction homes to provide a fresher ventilation system. The problem with this is that a lot of the times this device is not configured correctly by the technicians. So if this device is bringing hot, humid air into your house during a rainy day, so imagine what happens. It rains, the temperature drops, so your air conditioning system doesn't run that much. Since it doesn't run that much, this fresh air device notices that, hey, I'm set up to bring X amount of fresh air during the day. So it'll just open up and start bringing hot air from the hot, humid air from the outside. Your air conditioning system is not running that often because it's not that hot since it started raining. It gets more humid inside of your house. Configuring this device with your air conditioning system is very important. As you can see, this chart shows you a little bit of why indoor air quality matters a lot. If you don't have a fresh air controlling system and you don't open up windows and doors, I'm giving you something to think about. There's a lot of accessories that we install in the industry. I'm not going to go through the whole thing right now. We're going to keep on topic, which is relative humidity. So what happens with relative humidity? If you're going through this in your house and you're like, you're right, every time, for example, it feels comfortable during the day, but I go to sleep and it just feels really muggy. It feels kind of humid, and I wake up at night and I'm sweating. If you're going through that, that means that your relative humidity is higher than normal. It all depends on the type of system that you have and how well it's performing, where you might be able to do something about this relative humidity. So, first thing, make sure that your technician checks for relative humidity in your home. Make sure that you have a thermostat that displays relative humidity so you can get an idea of what's happening inside of your house. And there's some adjustments that you can make as a technician. So, for example, a technician can lower the fan speed accordingly to the manufacturer specifications to run the air at a slower speed, and this will actually dehumidify the air just a little bit more. There's other devices. There's a dehumidifier, for example, but I'm not going to tell you to go and buy a dehumidifier right away before you don't get. First, you need to get your HVAC technician to do his job and actually check your system and give you this information. What's the relative humidity in your house? Has the fan speed been adjusted? How are the refrigerant levels? How cold is the air coming out of your system? Then you can start considering in accessories. But also, you need to tackle infiltration. If you notice what I said earlier, if you're noticing that ring of dust building around the edges of your vents in certain areas, make sure that you take off that grill or have a technician take off that grill. And there's a box called a boot that should be sealed against the sheetrock. So if you don't have them sealed against the sheetrock, that's the first step that I would recommend to start tackling before you start buying expensive equipment. Make sure that your system is perfectly sealed. Have an HVAC professional check for it. Make sure that your ductwork is sealed, that your boxes up there, which are called plenums, are sealed. If you have a system in the attic, make sure that those vents are sealed against the sheetrock, that your fan speed is correct, and that your system has had a tune-up as well. A lot of the times, customers don't do tune-ups on air conditioning systems, and they only service them once the system quits working. I encourage you to actually get a maintenance program or a tune-up program, however you want to call it, and have your system serviced throughout the year. It's very important because a clean system actually performs way much better than a dirty system. So if you're going through this, those are my recommendations. Check for those air leaks. There's other technologies available. If you have a train system, for example, if you have a train system, you probably have a train thermostat. Like the one here on the screen, this is a Train 824. This is a very cool thermostat. And the cool thing about it, it is not only compatible with Train, but it is also compatible with other systems. Since it works with 24 volts, that's what we call them in the industry. They're standard regular systems that work with 24 volts that are non-communicating. You use this thermostat with other brands. One of the features that's built into this thermostat, besides reading relative humidity, is a feature called overcooling. On the screen, you can see that this thermostat, the cooling temperature is set on 77, which is on the right side. You can see those blue numbers. Then on the bottom on red, it says 62. So it's 77 on cooling, 62 on heat. To the left, you have the big numbers on 77. That's the current temperature of the room. So this thermostat has reached the set point of 77. Now the 60% is showing you the current humidity in that area, in that house. It is set to 55%. So clearly this thermostat did not meet the humidity that was requested because it already reached the cooling temperature. This feature of overcooling allows you to tell the thermostat, in case you meet the set point of the temperature, but the humidity has not gotten close or met my set point of humidity, which in this case was 55, I allow you to overcool for an additional 3 degrees. You can set this from 0 to 3 degrees. So in this case, if you notice on the screen, it says 77, and under the 77, it says dehumidification. So this system is actually dehumidifying the air for an additional 3 degrees of runtime. It will actually cool down the house down to 74, and then it will stop. This feature is very cool because when the humidity is too high, the thermostat will try to get you closer to that humidity level. This not only provides colder air, but at the same time, it provides more comfort because you're pulling more moisture out of the air. And when the humidity set point is met, it won't always overcool. So that's a very neat feature that this thermostat has. So if you don't have one, if you're a technician, you should be offering something like this and explain to your customer. And because at the end of the day, your job is to provide comfort to your customer. And there's a lot of things that customers that don't know there are out there, and technicians don't offer them because of fear of becoming a salesperson, because that's one of the things that we often hear from technicians is they have that fear of becoming a salesperson. But you're not a salesperson. You're actually providing comfort to your customer. Another thing that's built into this thermostat is what's called BK terminal. Now, this BK terminal is only compatible with train systems that have a variable speed blower motor inside. So if you have a train system with a variable speed motor, you can take advantage of this terminal as well. If you wire this BK terminal, what it does is it tells the thermostat, in case the humidity is too high, go ahead and reduce the fan speed 30% less. This will allow for even a higher dehumidification level before it even starts overcooling. So when you combine these two, imagine the benefit that you give your customer. Imagine that comfort that you're providing to your customer. This BK terminal should be used a lot, and it should be wired in areas where there's high humidity. So for example, here in Texas, this should be normal to be wired. And I can tell you by experience, there's a lot of technicians that are not wiring this terminal. Research a little bit more. If not, on our website, we're going to provide more information on that terminal. And for the customer, I just want to remind you, there's always a solution for a lot of your comfort issues. It's just finding the right company or the right technician that provides this. And if not, that's why we're here. I'm letting you know about these things, so now you feel more comfortable and secure about asking technicians about it. Because sometimes you have a technician that does an excellent job but doesn't know about things like this. Well, now you can bring it up to him and he can do research as well, and you can work together and work on providing you the best comfort as possible. So that's it for today. I wanted to bring you a little bit of on this topic of relative humidity. I hope this helped you a lot. I did want to remind you that we are building that innovatech1.com website with more information. So it will have an area for customers where we're going to explain everything in non-technical terms that will help you feel more prepared when you deal with heating and cooling situations. And for technicians, it's a tremendous aid because it will help you understand a lot of things. It will improve your diagnostics, and we will cover a lot of stuff that will help you present these things to a customer without feeling a salesperson, and actually providing just more knowledge and feeling more secure. Because at the end of the day, you want your customer to trust you because you're there to provide a service in their best interest and not just because you want to sell them something. So that's it for today. Join us on our next topic. Thank you. So that's it for today. Join us on our next topic. Thank you. Make sure you follow us. So that's it for today. Please make sure that you follow us on X, also on YouTube and on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and check out our website once it's up and running. Thank you.